Good morning, everybody. Welcome to everybody who's in the room, and welcome to whoever is watching on Zoom, and welcome if you're watching a recording of this later. My name is Leanna Scachetti. I am with WDBJ7 here in Roanoke. I started off as an MMJ in 2017, and in the summer of 2020, transitioned to a role as digital anchor at WDBJ7, taking on the pioneering of our over-the-top product. I was an MMJ for several years before that, started working in Panama City Beach, Florida, and came to Roanoke with the intention of, oh, I'll be there 2 years and then beyond. And Roanoke has captured my heart, and I'm very happy to be here. So happy to be here with you all this morning. Like I said, if you have questions at any time, please feel free to raise your hand. More than happy to answer them. All right, Robin, you can go ahead to the next slide. So what is OTT? OTT stands for over the top. And I tried to make this visual graphic to kind of display the idea behind it, but OTT programming is internet-based, and it goes over the top of your traditional cable programming. So you're probably all familiar with Netflix, Hulu, etc. WhatsApp even is a version of over the top because it is internet-based. So you're going over a traditional medium that has a provider and a broadcaster. So Roku is a vehicle by which you can access that content. Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Peacock, Netflix, those are all examples of over the top. And what we do is also considered over the top. Next slide. So we have two live streams that we use to showcase our over the top product. And again, my rudimentary graphics here are meant to display, and I'll have some video examples as well. So we have a primary live stream. And on that live stream, anytime we're in a newscast, so let's say our noon newscast, if you access that primary live stream on our website, on our streaming apps, or even on our mobile app, you can watch the newscast. In between then, we used to have, prior to our new OTT product, we used to just replay the last newscast. So from noon to our next newscast at 4 o'clock, you would just watch a repeat of the noon for the next several hours. That was an untapped resource. So now what you're going to see on it is content from us on the digital news desk, which is what we call our OTT platform. We realize that viewers don't really know what OTT stands for, so we have to be pretty decisive with our language and let them know what the product is that we're offering them. So in between newscasts, you'll find our content and also local news live. That is a product from Gray, which is the company that owns Channel 7. And that is something they started out of Omaha, where they're trying to 24/7 live stream. So they're pulling from the digital news desks from their stations from around the country, relying on local reporters to deliver up to the minute content. So in that in-between time, I can interrupt local news live at any time to bring people breaking news. And the idea behind this is, you know, if something breaks in between noon and 4 o'clock, we don't have to wait until 4 o'clock to let people know about it. And the nice thing about the platform that we're using is, sure, we can get it to web as we have done in social media, but the vehicle that I'll show you some examples of allows us to kind of go more in depth. We can take full press conferences, we can have full in-depth interviews. So we're really giving people more context in that time in between newscasts. It's not a substitute for a newscast. So I tell people when they start working on this product is to deconstruct everything you think you know about what it means to take and make a newscast and recreate it. So that's what we have on our primary live stream. Our secondary live stream is 24/7 weather, constantly updated. We know viewers are constantly driven to weather, so they can access that anytime. And both of these live streams are available if you were to download our mobile app. They're available on our website and on our streaming app. So if you were to go to Roku, type in WDBJ7, you would find both of these live streams. So here's our digital news desk. And Robin, if at any time you'd like to chime in, you provide great context as well. So I'm happy to have your input. So here's a little example. So this picture on the left here is what I see when I'm driving the ship, is what I call it. So I am essentially, as OTT digital anchor, I'm anchor, reporter, producer, director, sound, lighting, social media, web, all of it. We have added, this would not be possible without our team of engineers. They're fantastic. We're constantly working to try and make this even better, find new programs. You can kind of see in the bottom right picture, the little pen that they have put me in. We've put this screen up to try and provide a little bit of sound protection because it is in the middle of our newsroom. And the Gray model wanted that specifically because they wanted to let people know we're in the newsroom, you're going to hear stuff going on. It's kind of behind the scenes, a little more transparency.
And so I'm right there, if breaking news happens, I'm among the first to know because the police scanner is up and, I can hear, and I'm working with our web team and our managers. And then another little angle at the top there that I used, we just added that stream deck, which allows for much less thinking when I have to pull up my own graphics. Any questions so far? So that's a little snippet to give you a sense of the wide variety. We also, like I said, take press conferences. Anytime there's maybe a severe weather and our meteorologist is cutting into programming, we'll take that as well so people can access it. One thing you didn't see, but that is kind of really great with this platform is interaction on social media. So, Facebook Live is where we're simultaneously live streaming. I'll explain that in just a little bit too, but we've had doctors on and people from public health, and we'll tell our viewers, if you have a question for Dr. Morrow, let us know. And so they'll say, I want to know, if I need to get my booster, when should I get it? And we can get those questions asked in real time. Another example is a couple years ago, Vice President Mike Pence came to Virginia Military Institute. We covered his visit, speaking to the cadets there. Our senior reporter, Joe DeShield, did a story, and obviously in a minute 30, kind of used the snippets that he had with his interview with the Vice President. But what he did after, when he came back into the newsroom, we kind of debriefed, and we played that whole interview out for people so they could kind of see the depth of the conversation and see how it flowed from there. So we were able to kind of give people more in that sense, hence the plus. So when we're live streaming, we're typically on Facebook Live, which is where I offer it, and then also our primary live stream. And for an example, I put Roku as the vehicle for where we're sending out that live stream. So I just did this interview last week. I had an astrophysicist from NASA join on the digital news desk, which is really cool because she's in Maryland, but it's space, so it's relevant to everybody. So we had a fantastic interview. We're able to play video simultaneously and see our talking heads. I think people are still constantly attracted to visuals, so I like to try and make it as visual as possible. But it doesn't just stay there. We found a way to kind of repurpose our content as well. So after we do the live stream, you can go back and watch it on our Facebook Live. You can go back on our streaming apps and watch it there. And I'll show you a little bit more of that in a second. But so you will also afterwards be able to access it on our website, on our mobile app. I'm also recording that content and cutting those shots or perhaps packages for core television, our channel, 5 o'clock broadcast. And then we'll also strip the interviews for our Hometown Stories podcast. So we're finding ways to take one sort of instance, this one piece of content, and share it across all of our digital media. And what you'll also notice, I'm not, I interact with sales more often now, and I know we try and, as journalists, we try and stay away from that as possible. But I know talking with those folks that they're very interested in the sales possibility with this. There's lots of opportunity for digital sales. And between 2017 and 2021, our digital revenue increased by 255%. So people are interested in selling and sponsoring their product on here. Again, that's not something that I deal with, but I know that that's something that our company is very, very interested in. Go ahead to the next slide. Any questions about that so far?
How many hours is the staff? So how do you manage that?
That's a great question. I'm currently the only person, the only dedicated person, but we're happy for that at least, because not every gray station has had a dedicated person. And so the learning curve is sort of greater. I had the benefit of sitting down every day and trying to figure out how to work this equipment, which benefited us, that I was kind of ready and able when time came to jump on that. I do know, so we have our meteorologists who use it in the morning and the evening every day. And Kate, my colleague, does our Spanish language digital newscast every evening on the weeknights as well. I know some desks in other gray stations, they'll do a dedicated, like every day at 1 o'clock, we'll do a newscast. I think the idea is right now, local news live is kind of the base for us, interrupted by the things that we do and then our newscasts. I think we're kind of heading in a direction of the days of old where more stations are thinking about more in-house original content as opposed to relying on syndication. And so I think that they're looking to fill the gaps with lots of original content on this platform. So we would be doing more than maybe the couple of times that I get on during a day. It depends on the day. If we've got breaking news, I could be on there for a while. I could jump in a couple times a day. I know that recently we covered an officer's funeral, and so we streamed when they departed. The medical examiner's office arriving with the escort. So that was something that it was kind of fluid throughout the day. So it really depends, but I think that the direction that I anticipate they're heading in is trying to staff these even more to kind of put more original content in more times throughout the day. More questions?
It's been rolled out to all the radio stations.
Almost all of them, I believe. I think some of the recently acquired from the most recent purchase and sale, I think they're still trying to get online, and they kind of did them in waves. So some desks are a little further along with their use. Some jumped on it really quick. Some it's taken a little bit of time for them to kind of figure out how they're going to use it. We're all sort of we're told, you get to develop the roadmap, which is really hard, but it's also really fun. So I think everybody's at sort of different stages. Question in the back?
Yeah, when you're working the social media platforms as well, could you talk a little bit about which social media platforms automatically work for you? Which ones are a bit of a challenge, where you're still trying to find that engagement, and which ones have you made the kind of executive decision that you just don't have the bandwidth like what works for you?
Well, to be honest, I'm mostly relying on Facebook, just because it still takes a step for me I kind of have two steps to get Facebook Live, going into the Creator Studio, creating a connection with the stream key between the streaming software and Facebook. To get onto our live stream, I just literally flip a switch and I'm automatically onto the live stream. So I'm mostly working with Facebook. It gives me immediate feedback. I do have my issues with Facebook, which I will talk about, but it does give me my most immediate feedback on engagement. It allows me to see when people are asking questions. I am interested in trying to figure out YouTube and how I can maybe simultaneously get to those products. That's, I think, what's going to be the next step that I'll be focusing on is how can we reach out to these other social platforms. Trouble with social media, although the benefit is it kind of gives me my most immediate indicator of, are people interested? Are they watching this? Do they have questions? You're also fighting an algorithm all the time. And there's so much that we don't have control over in that space. And also, again, not that I am at all really involved with the sales side, but hearing from them, that's a product that they can't monetize. Whereas they can monetize if people are going and watching it on our streaming apps with some pre-roll advertisements or digital advertisements on our website. So I know from the company's perspective, that's another question I'm sure that they have as well. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? These are great questions.
Yeah, I was in the kind of same vein. Like, what is giving up your audience to say, without again being able to access it, not do that, right? On some products and on what's the objective of.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think that's still something we're trying to work out. And I think that's the question that I think a lot of newsrooms are having on the dependency that we've developed on Facebook to reach our audience in that way. As far as giving up maybe core TV audience, I think we're all simultaneously, I think a lot of people are already on these streaming platforms. So it's not that we're driving them. The goal is not to drive them away from core TV to here, but we're they're already there, so we might as well be there too in the streaming apps. But I think it's a great question. It's something that I still think about, that people can access the same product through our streaming apps. It's the awareness factor that I think is still the challenge, trying to let people know. I mean, in our community, we still have people who struggle to get broadband, right? So we're at so many different levels of where our viewers are kind of at with basic internet connectivity, all the way up to people who stream regularly. So the questions that you have are the questions that I have that I think we're still trying to figure out, and looking for guidance from the company about best practices, continuing to move forward, since we're still very much mapping this out together. So I hope that answers your question with saying that I have the same question. Any other questions?
Being very diplomatic about this. They don't know what they're doing. But it's because we went from linear television with something that we call, people that were faithful to you, count on. And now, Catherine is sitting in the room, and I'd be willing to bet that unless she's home. The linear television is not even on. So we're losing so much audience that they have a name for it. It's like they're dying off, or
Yeah.
but there's a way to phrase it. So what Leanna's doing is we're just probing this world of how else can we touch them? And man, we can't figure out how to monetize it at the time. And management will talk a big game about, yeah, we did no, but we better darn well be in the fight in some way.
Well, I'm even seeing your video, right? So it's like even, at least for you all with video, and I know that's, we don't like to have ads on the front page of the paper or on the actual broadcast, but that's how you can capture them. I'm seeing more of that traditional, like let's just take audio and kind of move it in that kind of vein and that kind of look, but you're not monetized, you're not able to kind of pay for it. You're not able to staff up because of lack of revenue and lack of monetizing it, giving away your audience to these, somewhere else you can care less about.
What's happening in your hometown. Yeah, I think that's something we're still trying to understand. And I think they're heavily pushing, they're realizing that, I mean, I think for the first time, a lot digital advertisers are prioritizing the digital space over the core TV space. That's not a surprise at all. I'm surprised it hasn't already been that way for a long time. So question here.
Who's watching?
That's a great question. We're still trying to figure that out. I think analytics, yeah, that's like the core question. We know for the core TV, there's a lot of volatility in the like 30 female age range, that, really important demographic. I think as we continue to push this, we need to improve our analytics infrastructure and make it easy to read. We do have analytics that I could rely on, but a lot of it is kind of over time. It's not as immediate as I would like it to be. And I'm not an analyst, but I'm trying to fill that role and trying to figure out what does my audience really want to see, and how do I mitigate that with what we have to offer versus what I know that they want to see. It's questions all the time. I'm asking questions. These are things I think about brushing my teeth every day. Sure.
So, what is the possibility that's breaking on your own platform? Does audience know that the content is?
That's a great question. So if they're on Facebook Live and they follow our page, they'll get a notification that we're live. Concurrently, we also send out push alerts to people who have our mobile app. So we'll say, there's been a shooting on Melrose Avenue. Join it now on Facebook or our website to get the details. So they get that push alert there too. We've also been able to use this platform, and as you'll see in a second, there's opportunities to integrate the digital news desk into our core broadcast. And so we're learning about ways that we can use it that way. So for example, when, at the height of the pandemic, Governor Northam was doing a COVID update every day. We traditionally would have an anchor get on desk, come in early, anticipating that would happen at 2:00 every afternoon, get her on the desk to front this. Then we started using the digital news desk so I could simultaneously front the press conference for core TV and the digital news desk social media at the same time. So we're able to kind of use it in that twofer capacity. But to answer your question, primarily Facebook Live notifications and push alerts. And again, my last slide is questions and challenges that I'm still facing and trying to answer. And one of them is audience awareness, like I said, because we realize we can't use the word OTT with them because that's a really technical term. We have to let them know, what is this product? And so I think that there's still work to be done to let them know what it is, when they can access it, how they can access it. You had a second question? It's mostly internally. I mean, I'm sure they've got goals, but it's not, I've not really felt the pressure from that, but we try and watch. I think our digital engagement has gone up. Obviously, interest in digital advertising has also gone up. Our digital revenue has gone up tremendously. Like I said, 255% in the last couple of years. So I'd like for us, we started it in 2020 and it's sort of been this, how do we use this thing? Where are we going to take it? And so I'd like to get, again, trying to get analytics is just me trying to figure it out while also being like, let me turn this VOSOT for 5. You know what I mean? So, but I think it's going to be really important. And those are some more tools that I'd like to see. So most of it is more grown for me. Like, are we getting more awareness about this platform? I think more of our audience is understanding, but again, it's a really diverse audience in our coverage area. Like I said, with some people still not even having access to broadband. So it's like, how do we make sure we serve those people just as well as we're serving people who are really digitally adept? If that makes sense. Any other questions? So this is an example. Oh no. This would have been an example of using. Okay. Maybe the next one. But this is just basically an example of, let's say I do an interview, let's say we get an update from our public health, Roanoke City public health director at 11 in the morning about, where our COVID cases are, what have you. So I will stream her updates, and that's an opportunity. We can also take viewer questions. But like I said, what I'd probably show was that video is an example of taking something that I did on the desk and repurposing it, fronting it in a newscast. So that's adding content to our newscast. The digital news desk basically becomes an additional newsroom live shot location, if you will. But once production hands it over to me, once they kind of take me full, I drive from there. So I'll play all my own graphics and all my own video until, we double box back to the anchors and then take it back from there. So we're using cross-promoting the digital news desk in our core television to let people know about it and showing our content there. I hope that makes sense. Swim lanes. So this is an example of, if you were to pull up our streaming app, some of the things that you would see. So the first things, so this is, for example, on Roku. The first things that you would see are that primary and then that secondary live stream. So people can choose to watch that at any time. They can pull up the 24/7 weather stream, or they can pull up the primary live stream where they can watch a newscast anytime that it's live, local news live, or anytime that we're interrupting. And then there's more. So viewers, this is an example of the way that we know viewers are fragmenting. They have the opportunity to watch what they want to watch when they want to watch, right? So they're doing that on this platform anyway. So we're just meeting the expectations of the app, while also showcasing to them why we are their hometown station, right? So videos clipped from our newscasts through our CMS, through our content management system for our website, automatically get added to a category that will fall in our swim lanes. And anything that I do on the digital news desk, they can also go back and watch here. So if they wanted to watch analysis from Dr. Bob on the recent election, they could watch that in full even afterwards. We've got sports, weather, latest news, all of our franchise pieces that our anchors will do. People can watch this there. And so these are called swim lanes because they look like swim lanes. So this is how people are accessing our content on the streaming apps through their television. Any questions about that? This one doesn't have video, so if we can't hear it, it's fine. So this is just us scrolling to show you what it looks like. I mean, it's kind of like Netflix, right? So you can go, just as you would go to drama, comedy, TV shows, classic. You can choose what you want to watch and when you want to watch it. So that's just a little example of visually what that looks like. Questions and challenges, a lot of which we've already talked about. Viewer awareness, again, I think that's going to come with our promotions team, letting people know what this product is, how they can access it, why it's still your hometown station, the role of social media, which we have discussed, the different platforms, which was your question about how can we also simultaneously be on YouTube? Do we want to be on YouTube? Do we want to be on other streaming platforms? The fluctuation of the core audience TV, retaining those folks, also capturing them in the streaming space, keeping people dedicated in all of these platforms. And of course, going back to the analytics, having more functional, user-friendly tools to get analytics that we can learn from and put into practice, take what we've learned from them and put into practice. So we are road mapping this. Every day is a little bit of an experiment. We've gotten good feedback from people. And I think that our reporters also enjoy the opportunity to kind of flush out their story more than they're able to in a traditional newscast. And I love that opportunity too. I love long form interviews. I love being able to flesh out a story. I love being able to take a press conference in full. So, our viewers can get the full benefit of seeing that where they might not traditionally see it on a newscast. And I think it just opens up a little bit more transparency and letting people know, offering more, again, going back to that plus. So I'm not an expert, just we're still road mapping, but this is what I know. It's been a lot of fun. It's very technical, but the way that I entice our team into it is, have you ever wanted to have your own show? Okay, here's the vehicle to do it. Here's the opportunity to do it. So there's so much room for growth. And I know that our company is invested in this and they're going to continue investing in this. So that's where we're at. Any other questions? Comments, concerns? Yeah.
When you think of, because it does seem like you're doing everything, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. If you expanded your department, right, hired like 2 or 3 more people, where do you want to put those people to make your life easier, but also to take advantage of the obvious enormous opportunities?
Yeah.
Like what is this for?
Great question. I'd love somebody dedicated to the morning and then to the evening, staffing them on a traditional morning side, evening, nighttime. I'd love for us to fill in the gaps. So we don't have a broadcast at 7 on our core TV, but I'd love to have a 7 o'clock digital newscast. Same thing for the morning, kind of filling in the gaps, pulling in the pieces, utilizing other people in our newsroom who are just as knowledgeable, but maybe they're not, our traditional on-air people. I think that's a platform. I think opportunities for sports are tremendous for people. I think people are really attracted to sports conversation. And weather, people love it when our meteorologists hop on, and they love it as an opportunity to say, oh, I can come and chat with so-and-so, one of their favorite on-air personalities as well. So I think that I would love to have a person in the morning and the person in the evening to be ready for breaking news, meeting people on that platform, producing original content. If we could have, because a lot of our content is during the day, local news live in between those newscasts, which is great because anything national that's going on, they take care of it. They're like our hub for anything, if President Biden is going to talk, they'll take that live stream and we can share that with our audience there because they'll be taking care of it. But I'd love opportunities for more original content, local content that I think our viewers would really connect with, and just kind of getting us throughout the whole day so there are no gaps.
One more thing we should tell them, because we learned about it in our staff meeting. We had our first staff meeting in 2 years. So with these mega companies that are running the world now, the one thing they can monetize is that opens up the staffing. So for Leanna to get a couple more staff members, boy, that money has to be there. It has to show that it's there. They don't do anything without making sure it's monetized, because they're so mindful of what the future holds. The audience, forget cable cutting. The audience is dispersing. So they're out there trying to grab these little teams. And so she's our rock star in the building because she does stuff we don't understand. To be what the hell is Leanna doing that? But they're mindful of this, and they're trying very hard to find places that you could gather your news. So forget loyalty, forget all that stuff. And yet, with all of that, in the third quarter of this year, we're going to install a next generation television production through our transmitter. And for the life of me, I don't even know everything it does, but it does a lot of things. So there's still the investment in the future for television. Something you have to plug in, turn on. But otherwise, it's got to be on this device. She's leading the way and understanding. We're really proud of her.
Thank you. If you have any questions at any time, I'd be happy to chat. I'd, love to get your
Yeah, well,
feedback.
so you can talk to them in person. I'll go ahead and stop the Zoom.
Sure. Well, thank you guys very much for your time.